Sweet, sweet. Love it.
Good morning. We're live now.
Good morning, everybody. 6 a.m. on the 3rd of February. 12
Woo!
more days for an important day, by the way. Uh,
Yes.
Greatest day of the year.
17.
12 more days for the 15th. Yeah, that one is wow. So the 17th is Julia's birthday,
Yes.
Dr. Kiltz' grandson.
Oh, wow. Happy
Uh,
birthday.
and he's gonna be 1 year old. Is
That's
there
awesome.
the
And
party?
number two's on its way, but my daughter just doesn't know it yet.
Oh.
All righty. Please let us know where you're watching from, and if you want to put the temperature there for where you are, put hashtag KMT for a chance to win. What?
I'm trying to give away a ticket to the event portion of the
Hat,
event on Saturday.
Hat.
Oh, okay, we're doing the hat.
Hat. It's simple and easy. People can buy a ticket. We'll see them there. Then you know that they're going to be there. The ticket.
Oh, it gets.
That's what I would do.
All right.
No KMT hat. That's easy.
All righty. So 28 degrees in Deltona, Florida. Has been colder than some places in Alaska. Incredible. Anyways, let us please like, share, comment, subscribe, all the things. Dr. Kiltz and I are doctors, but
wow,
we're
that's
not good
cool.
doctors. This is for educational and entertainment purposes.
We're doctors, but don't believe anything we say in this moment. You got to do your own research. But in fact, we're telling the
Go and
story
check
how doctors are mistrained.
Mhm.
If you have any questions, put them in the chat, and we'll be talking to Nicholas Bremer this morning. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm very grateful for this opportunity. Thank you all for inviting me.
Who are you coming from?
Right now, I'm in Stillwater, Oklahoma, studying at Oklahoma State University.
What are you studying?
Right now, I am in vet school, so I'm studying veterinary medicine. I'm in my second semester of my first year.
And what is your take on the science of veterinary medicine?
Well, it's very, very interesting. I'm enjoying it a whole lot, but as I've heard some other doctors say on YouTube, there's a lot of kind of, just old, I'd say, ideas. For example, antioxidants. They talked about antioxidants last month in, I don't remember. Oh, it was general pathology, I think. And well, we don't really need antioxidants if we don't have oxidants, right? Like if there's no oxidation in the body. And so, the need for fruit is probably maybe not as needed if you're eating a carnivore diet. Last semester, sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt it. If I let my dog out, do you think he'll go looking for whatever fruit he can find? Doubt it in the winter here. He's going to find very much, but do you think he's going to look for plants and fruit, or is he going to try to grab that squirrel running around?
He'll probably try to grab a squirrel, I'd say, but in a deficit, if he were starving, then even I would look for fruit.
We all would do that. Yeah. I'm sorry. Continue. Go ahead and tell us your story.
I'll start with that. So when I was, it was about when I first got into undergrad. So that was around 2022. So I was like 18 at the time. Maybe it was like 2023, January of 2023. I happened upon Dr. Jordan Peterson's presence on Joe Rogan's podcast, and he was saying, hey, you know, this diet, the carnivore diet, I've been trying it and it's really been helping me. Personally, I was like, wow, this is a cool story. Maybe it would help me too, because at the time I think I was a little overweight. Like I just had fat that would store in my upper arms. You know, I was working out. I was trying to get rid of that fat, but I wasn't ever able. So I just gave it a try. I also had lower back pain and foot pain that were just always there. You know, I'd worn arch supports and stuff like that to try and solve that. But, you know, trying the diet really helped. And it also helped my skin. My legs and my hands would always be super dry, especially in the winter. Like in the winter, you know, the back of my hands would always crack and bleed. They were so dry. But now I don't really have those problems anymore. And so I'm very, very grateful. It's awesome. So, but back to what I'm learning in school. In animal nutrition, or not animal, veterinary nutrition, we learned that, you know, we learned all about kibble. And basically our professor was saying carbs are necessary, but I mean, I don't really think they are. And then we talked about a low salt diet and how low cholesterol is healthy for kidneys. We talked about how if you increase your fatty acid intake, you're going to get fatty liver. But I mean, I don't think that's true anyway, because bile won't allow for that. You're just going to have diarrhea before you eat too much fat.
So, but this is all in relationship to animals, animal biology?
Yes. Yeah. This is all, well, in vet school, this is just what they're teaching. And so, I mean, I acknowledge that there might be differences, and I mean, there certainly are, but at the same time, a liver is a liver, a kidney's a kidney. Let me give you an example. So yesterday, there might actually be some credence to this, and I do believe there is. We talked about how cats get fatty liver or hepatic lipidosis if they just don't eat for like 4 days. I mean, in a human, that's unheard of, right? I mean, people fast for weeks, or they can, but yeah, you know, in cats, they're constantly eating, and so it's a little different. But at the same time, I asked my professor, I was like, hey, you know, so I've heard of fatty liver, non-alcoholic fatty liver in humans. What about this? Why aren't we seeing, you know, if someone goes on a prolonged fast, why aren't they keeling over from fatty liver? And so she said, well, that's a good question. And however, I think what she said, I think it still happens to some extent. That's what she said. So like in our liver cells, maybe it's still happening, but at the same time, how else would the liver, is it the liver that turns the fat into ketones, or anyway, you know what I mean? And so
I just wonder about science or scientism, and whether or not veterinary medicine is any different than standard human medicine. It's a scientism.
mm-hmm.
We're taught a science that may be untrue in order to keep us thinking cats. The food that is fed.
Okay.
I don't know. Ooh,
You were
cats
frozen.
And dogs. Are cats? Am I still frozen?
No, you're not. now.
Are cats and dogs in general, by the Purina cat and dog chow people, fed only animal products or a mixture of animal and plant products?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, in all their tests, I'm pretty sure, I mean, they're probably just feeding them kibble. And when you're feeding,
so a Purina cat and dog chow is a plant and animal based diet.
Right.
Correct?
Yes.
In the wild, do lions or wolves eat plants?
No.
And isn't a cat and dog simply a domesticated lion or wolf, which was fed plants, became domesticated, and would do anything for more kibble?
Yeah, I would say so.
Isn't that what humans are? Domesticated wolves.
I would say so. I mean, you know, just personally, I just feel better. I mean, going to eating just animal products instead of the rainbow, right? I just feel better.
Alia, do you have a particular book you want to show Nicholas?
I should send him this book.
You should just show it to him. Have you read this book, Here's Cats?
I haven't. That's a cool looking book.
Yeah, basically they fed the cats pasteurized milk products and cooked meat, and the animals were sick. But when they fed them raw milk and meat, they were healthy.
Oh wow!
What other animal cooks their food?
I couldn't say that any other animal does.
But you're in the veterinary world because people love their animals. Do you want to be in large animal farm stuff, or do you want to be in domesticated home pet stuff?
Great question. So my dad owns a small animal clinic. So again, I'm very grateful for that. I'm already kind of starting off with an advantage, I guess. But I'd like to at least maybe consult for large animals, maybe do a little bit more than just small animals. But right now it's probably going to be mostly small animal focused. But that's a good question.
And so you're already in veterinary school. You've already graduated undergrad, and you're in veterinary school. How many years is veterinary school?
So vet school is 4 years, 4 long, arduous years. The 4th year is I believe it's called a clinical year, where you're basically just working pretty much as a doctor, but it's under supervision of real doctors.
What are the most common diseases of cats and dogs?
Well, that's a good question. I'm not sure I know the answer yet.
Okay.
Just this semester, I'm taking clinical pathology and general pathology. There's all sorts. There's parasites. Oh, well, so working at my dad's clinic, what I've seen, you can see oral hematomas on dogs, which is cauliflower ear in humans. You can see hookworms hookworm eggs in the feces, roundworms, whipworms. You can see all sorts of bacteria. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Diabetes for sure.
In dogs and cats?
Yes. Oh,
really?
Yes. Yeah. Cats especially, they get type 2 diabetes. And yeah, that's another thing. I'm pretty sure what else would it be caused by but their carb-laden diets? It just makes sense. But yeah, type 2 diabetes. They also get something called diabetes insipidus. It's more rare. That is basically, if I recall correctly, it is an absence or a misapplication of ADH, which is antidiuretic hormone, which causes similar symptoms to diabetes mellitus or type 2 diabetes, which is why they call it diabetes insipidus. But there's all these, you know, mainly I'd say the ones that are probably not, you know, they're not going to be cured by a proper diet are the ones like parasites, right? Like if they're drinking water and they get, there's one.
Giardia?
Yeah, Giardia. That's exactly the one. That's exactly what I was thinking of. You know, I mean, yeah, obviously, I mean, who knows? Maybe a proper diet could change their immune system to help that.
Is there a movement out there, do you think, to bring our dogs and cats back to the carnivore world like humans?
I hope so. I really do. If not, then that's one of my goals. You know, I'm trying to, whenever I become a veterinarian, I'm going to definitely be recommending that they just, I mean, I've got to look into it some more because animals' requirements are a lot different than ours. For example, I think dogs don't need as much fat, and it might be that cats also may be in the same boat. Not as much fat as we do because our brains are much larger.
When we say fat, so is the food a dog or cat eats raw animals?
Not well. I mean, I think it should be probably,
But it's not. So
Right.
really, we're feeding them cooked food, whether
Right.
it's animals or plants.
right.
And so ultimately, that's not natural or normal either.
That's a good point. That's a great point. For example, like if I were to cook a steak versus if I were to just eat it raw, a lot of that fat renders, right, and it changes into the liquid form. So, you know, I mean, that could cause that maybe that's the cause of diarrhea or whatever that these animals might get if you feed them too much fat, right? Air quotes there.
So what inspires you every day to stay in the carnivore journey? And are you sharing with any of your classmates, and what do they think of you?
I'd like to share it with my classmates. No one's asked yet, and so I just kind of haven't told yet. But what keeps me going, or what keeps me sticking to it, really, is just the fact that it works. I mean, here's the thing. I went through a period where I was sugar addicted. Like every 3 days or like every week, I'd have to go get an ice cream sundae from Brahms or whatever, or just something, because I'd get just an insatiable craving for sugar. And so during that period, I'd feel great off the sugar, but then when I had the ice cream sundae, I felt horrible, both physically and like, man, I just, you know, I let myself down. But I mean, it's obviously temporary and short-lived. But now I've been like, I don't know, 80 to 100 days off that stuff. And I've done longer stints in the past. I did like 150 days straight of just carnivore, but I've been eating, you know, my daily meals have looked like, as of recently, I've changed it. It's, I get Walmart ground beef patties and eggs. I eat like 12 eggs in a day and all in one sitting too. 4 patties, 12 eggs.
Wow.
And yeah, I know, it's crazy. And recently I've been making my own Greek yogurt. So that's been fun. It's pretty cool. Greek yogurt.
Well, Papa says that humans are different physiology than cats. Are we?
Well, yes. So obviously there's the size difference. You don't need as much energy as a cat, but also cats, well, let's think about it, so
Do they have, I mean, anatomically, let's just look at the anatomy of a cat and a human. Okay, do cats have spleens?
they do. So anatomically, cats, I would say, are quite similar to
How
humans.
how about a wolf?
A wolf and a human and a cat, they're all very similar. The only,
What's different?
so anatomically, quite similar, but there is one difference that's coming to mind, and it's in the latter portion of the GI tract or the digestive tract, the intestines. So cats, I believe, have even shorter small intestines than both we and wolves do. I'm not sure about the wolves. I'd have to check that. But yes, and this is probably just a result of, adaptations due to the agricultural revolution, us, eating, adapting to eating plants. But the fact remains that we have a stomach and we have a very short cecum. Cats don't even, like, if I recall correctly, they don't even have a cecum pretty much. Dogs do have a little bit more of a cecum than we do. It's more of a spiral colon, or sorry, spiral. It's spiral shaped. And so, however, the fact remains we have a stomach. What does a ruminant have? A ruminant has 4 chambers: the rumen, the reticulum, the abomasum, and the omasum. I might have got those 2 switched, but they are made to digest the plants. And matter of fact, they don't even digest the plants. Their microbes digest the plants. They are digesting the microbes, right? Or the microbes waste, because the microbes make waste, and their waste is literally short chain fatty acids or volatile fatty acids.
Well, doesn't fiber break down to simple sugars?
Yes.
So aren't sugars absorbed into the circulation, and the microbes break down the fiber, and the digestion still is absorbing amino acids, simple sugars, not just volatile fatty acids.
Well, so that's a good point. So
it never made sense to me. Like, all they're eating is volatile fatty acids from the breakdown of the microbes?
Well, so I've heard Dr. Chafee actually talk about it like this. Basically, every animal in its natural state is eating a low-carb diet, just like we are. Because so here's what happens. So actually the cellulose, and if you feed them just straight sugar, the microbes ferment that sugar. And so, for example, in the cellulose, those microbes have an enzyme called cellulase. We do not really have cellulase to any significant amount, and
but our microbes do.
Our microbes, yes, they do. Now, that's the thing, like, whether we have enough microbes to take advantage of that, it's, probably, I don't know.
We don't have enough, because otherwise we will be digesting completely the cellulose, which we don't.
Right. And
but cows don't either, because their poop contains a lot of undigested plants, doesn't it?
That's true. Like, I mean, to make it blunt and kind of gross, they're taking big dumps out in fields, making all these cow patties everywhere.
And humans do the same thing in a high plant-based diet, don't they?
That's true. And that's one thing as well that I've noticed going on carnivore. I poop a whole lot less, and I'm honestly grateful for that, because this is another maybe TMI, but I've got something called hemorrhoids, and the fiber really messes with that. You know, I mean, there's been times where I look after I've done my business and the toilet's
Full of blood.
Full of blood.
Yep.
And it's uncomfortable. And like, I'm kind of scared. I'm like, oh my goodness, how much blood did I lose? But yeah, you're right about that. I've never really thought about that. Cows still do have a lot of poop. It's very true.
Wait a minute, Rick. Rick, iguanas don't cause hemorrhoids.
Iguanas.
He catches and eats them.
Cow poop is still fermentable into cooking gas. I mean, the microbes break down the complex sugars into simple sugars, but they also release the amino acids from the proteins, and they make alcohol. When you drink alcohol, wine or beer, is it only alcohol and fat? I mean, do you ever see fat floating in the wine or the beer?
No.
I don't know. I think we're wrong on that one. The microbes are making fats, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't it float?
Well, there are different types of fermentation that occur in the intestines, not only one type.
Yeah, but it's making alcohol, aldehydes, heat, gas, and methane. That's well known.
Not all fermentation pathways make that.
Well,
some fermentation pathways.
But the ones that are in our guts and the cow's guts are making it.
They also make short-chain fatty acids.
But again, how much? Show me the scientific study that shows the amount of short-chain fatty acids.
I don't know. All I know is I call it
scientism.
Yeah. I think honestly it's almost inhumane how these feedlots, they just pile the feed. These cows are always eating these grains, and they're literally getting morbidly obese. Like if you were to look at a cow, give it a BMI, right, or whatever, they would be our equivalent of morbidly obese. I mean, that intramuscular fat, the marbling that everyone's like, oh man, tastes really good.
That's what I eat.
I mean, it tastes good. Tastes great.
Because ultimately the inhumaneness is actually feeding humans a plant-based diet. I'm sorry, I want a fatty cow. I want fatty meat. I want marbling.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it tastes good too. It really
that's the healthiest for us. Skinny meat is deadly. That's called protein poisoning.
Well, that's true. And so,
again, I don't want a fatty cow. What do you want, a skinny cow?
No, I don't want a skinny cow, but I feel like personally,
you're gonna kill the cow and eat it, aren't you?
Well, I mean, so here, let's think about this.
Humane, right? You should eat plants.
Well,
right.
I mean,
let's change our message, right, Dr. Nelson?
So I would say I'd rather a cow get fattened up on grass. I believe that, I don't think. Well, I mean, what they do is they isolate these grains. In the wild, these cows are eating the whole stalk of grass. They're just munching on the grass, and the grain is just up here, like this little part. So sure, they get a little bit of grain.
What's the cost of grass fed and finished versus grain finished meat?
Much higher. And so that's the detriment. I say we should somehow find a way to lower the cost of grass fed.
Is it better? Have we proven it's better?
To a very minuscule amount. I mean, still grain fed's 10,000 times better than eating a vegan diet, you could argue about the Randall cycle and all that, but a standard American diet, right? But I mean, I don't know. The fat is like a little bit more yellow. So I mean, I don't know. I don't really know all that much about it. But back to, this is something I just thought of. Yeah, it is. That's a good point. It is really hard to fatten cattle on grass because it's their natural diet, right? I mean, they still do get fat, but
not enough for Kiltz.
and that's okay. I mean, I do like a fatty steak, and especially ribeye. I love ribeye. I wish I could afford it, but
You will.
know, sorry.
You will.
I will. Yeah, eventually one day. But you know, animals in the wild. I mean, when have any of you ever seen like a morbidly obese koala, or a morbidly obese lion, or a morbidly obese
Walrus.
walrus? Now, walruses,
They better be.
they have that blubber, right?
They better be. Or a bear about to hibernate, right? They better be obese.
Mm-hmm.
Is obesity cause of disease?
Well, I think it depends on the animal. In humans, I mean,
Does obesity cause disease, or is it the plant protein low-fat diet, 3 to 6 meals a day, which is the cause of disease? And obesity is just trying to help you survive the famine, migration, hibernation, and gestation.
I mean, that's a great point. I think I think the plants are the root cause, and obesity is just a side effect. For example, I've heard Dr. Chafee say this as well. He said, you know, the blood is getting all this sugar, and so the blood just sends that sugar into fat, basically, just to get it out of the blood. Because
it sends it to the liver, and the liver's job is to make fat. Insulin converts sugars and amino acids in the liver to fat.
Right.
De novo lipogenesis is the critical manufacturing system for the body. Without it, you die. If you have a cirrhotic liver, you can't make fat.
Yeah, that's true. And cirrhosis, I mean, I don't really know too much about that yet, but
do cats and dogs get cirrhosis? Good question.
Yeah, that's a great question. Cirrhosis, you guys might have to remind me what that. I'm not even sure. I remember.
There yet. Yeah, liver failure essentially.
Okay. Oh yeah, liver failure. So yes, they do.
Yeah, severe liver damage.
Oh yes, they do. They do get kidney failure. They get liver failure.
And are they fat or skinny by that time?
They are skinny.
Emaciated and skinny.
Yes.
Gee, I wonder why.
Yeah, I mean, just probably due to starvation, you know, not being able to eat. So, wow, yeah.
But also, what do we feed them?
Yeah, and that's a good point. You know, we feed them the junk, and it just makes their liver fail, and then they're not able to
make fat.
Wow.
Aliyah, do you want to hit some of the stars?
Yes. Let's go. Let's see.
There you go.
How much teaching on nutrition for dogs and cats and really healthy food in vet school?
How much teaching on nutrition okay, we had one whole class. It was only 8 weeks, so not a full semester, but a whole class last semester, 8 weeks, all about veterinary nutrition. And it was, the first part was dogs and cats. No, sorry. Yes. First part was dogs and cats, I think. Second part was, I think, ruminant animals. But before that, I had in undergraduate, I had 2 or 3 nutrition classes: principles of animal nutrition, applied animal nutrition, and then I had applied animal nutrition lab. And that third one was just 1 credit hour, but it taught me a lot about, well, something I'm never going to use, feedlot diets, I guess. But there was some teaching. Just, again, you know, I feel like a lot of it was not true.
So, who's the largest supporter of veterinary teaching of nutrition?
Those big brands, Purina.
Right.
What are the other ones? Purina. We got, Hill's Science Diet. I don't know. Those are the only 2 I can think of right now. But yep. And they've got
With the medical industry, right? There's no different, right?
Yep, that's so true.
Except nobody's working to feed the iguanas but Rick.
Yep. And somehow it seems those animals that aren't, you know, being fed these industrial diets, somehow they're healthier. You know, somehow. I mean, just really think about that. Whenever we don't mess with their natural diet, they're all right.
So is the Purina cat and dog food purely carnivore?
No, definitely not. There's all sorts of additives.
Nothing in the market without fruits and vegetables for cats and doggies. I've looked.
A vegan cat and dog food. Now, is the veterinary cost of healthcare for dogs and cats on the rise, or is it dropping precipitously because dogs and cats are getting healthier every day?
I don't actually know clinically, but I assume it's rising because.
Oh, I can tell you for sure it's rising. There are 2
Okay.
dogs in my house, grand dogs for me.
Costing more and more, huh?
One of them has cost already from 2 surgeries.
Wow.
An exorbitant amount of money.
Yeah, that's true. I had a friend, his cat has a lot of stones, kidney stones or something, just things he can't pass. And they were just going to put him to sleep, really. You know, they were at their wits' end because by that point they'd paid at least $700 just on this one cat, just for treatments to clear its urethra, right? And that's another thing. I'm going to try as a veterinarian to not gouge people if possible. I mean, I get that medications cost money. I get that there are some medications like parasite removal that are beneficial, but then I'm going to try and say, well, here's your options. There's this drug, but you could also feed this diet, try this diet, and maybe this is going to be way cheaper over the long term. Maybe this would cure all this. And so,
why do you think a dog would like to eat dirt?
So are you talking about like how dogs eat grass and stuff like that?
Well, the 2 surgeries this dog in my house has had is because he eats dirt and he's gotten impacted with dirt in his intestines. So he's had to have 2 surgeries, probably $15,000 between the 2 times.
Oh my goodness. So, I mean, the only thing that I can think of, the only reason why, at least why I've heard like dogs will eat grass and stuff like that, is they do it to throw up. Excuse me. They do it to literally make themselves, I don't know what happens if they're like making their stomach uncomfortable or whatever, but yeah, they do it to throw up, and that's probably due to whatever else they're being fed not agreeing with them or something like that.
I think he's looking for iron and other minerals because the kibble doesn't have it. But
that's an interesting point. I think there's truth to that as well. Oh, actually, that makes me think. So we were taught that cattle, they, like, if you don't put a salt block out in their pasture, they will, they'll just lick rock walls. And yeah, they'll lick rock walls. They'll eat dirt, just like you're saying. So yeah, there is some truth to that. There's definitely minerals in the dirt, especially here in Oklahoma. You know, we've got pretty red dirt, very iron rich soil. So but let me see here. So yeah, my family, they have, at first they thought I was crazy. My dad said, okay, well, now that you're immortal, you know, living or eating carnivore diet, you must be immortal, huh? And I'm just like, well, no, Dad, my diet doesn't make me immortal. But I do feel a lot better. But I mean, I don't want to live forever anyway, because Jesus. So I've got something I'm looking forward to, but not on this earth. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on in the world.
this is a good question, and I don't know if you know the answer yet, but do dogs and cats get diabetes in the wild? You know, do lions and wolves get diabetes?
Great question. They do not that I've seen. And okay, so this is what the if I were to ask this to my professors, I'm 90% sure they'd answer me with this. I'm pretty sure they'd say, well, back then we didn't really test those animals, you know, to see if they even got diabetes, those wild animals. And that may be true. Wild animals today, maybe it's the same situation. There may be some truth to that. But at the same time, what about today? Like, let's look at it in the modern day. Can't you do that now? Can't you test these wild diets and see, like, is what they're eating naturally causing diabetes? I don't see any literature supporting that. I don't think their natural diets do.
And it's possible. I guess it's possible to do a study, but which food company is going to pay for a study that potentially could prove that we don't need to feed them the kibble?
Exactly right. No food company is going to do that. Nestle, Purina is not going to. Yeah, because that would undermine their whole business. They're making profit off of this, unfortunately.
And so,
Non-existent.
hold on, Dr. Google here
Dr. Google
says, can you read that, Alia?
in the wild, diabetes is effectively non-existent because the causes, high carbohydrates, processed ingredients, chronic eating frequency, and sedentary living, are non-existent. Let's see.
Disease of civilization.
Yeah.
The disease of civilization. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
That's, I mean, it's very true.
Go ahead. Dr. Kiltz, you were going to say something.
Disease of domestication.
Domestication. Yeah.
You've been domesticated.
Yeah, it's true. It's very, very true. I mean, it's if we had left dogs in the wild, I don't think there'd be dogs with diabetes nowadays. I mean, I don't ever see, the only things I ever hear of wolves struggling with are survival, I guess. I mean, fighting each other, maybe, stuff like that. I don't hear that they're getting cancer or these other things that we're seeing nowadays in humans mainly. But yeah, you see them in animals too. Diabetes, cancer, kidney failure, liver failure. Maybe it happens in the wild, those last two, due to toxins or whatever. But yeah, I just don't see it very often in what I'm reading and what I'm learning in school.
Dr. Google says, nope.
Yep.
I mean, it's a hard world out there in the wild. I mean, we came into domestication because they fed us, they clothed us, they sheltered us, and then they imprisoned us, enslaved us, and then made us become the doctors to push their drugs.
Also, the life expectancy of many animal breeds is getting shorter and shorter. Could that have to do with their nutrition?
Domestication.
I don't know. That's a great question. Breeds. You've raised an interesting point. Breeds, in general, that's another thing that I'm kind of personally like. I mean, sure, I love Great Danes. They're probably my favorite dog breed. My grandma used to have a border collie, right? But the thing about breeds is that they're inbred, every single one of them, inbreeding. And the problem with inbreeding, other than a moral thing, is they cause all these genetic abnormalities that aren't supposed to be there. For example, if I can even think of an example, boxers. Boxers are more predisposed to cancer. Like, they just get cancer all over their bodies. From what I've heard, and actually from what I've seen, we used to have a boxer, and one, it just for over a couple months, it had this really big lump that started to form on its lip. And the problem with cancer is, or one of the problems is, something called increased angiogenesis, which is increased blood vessel formation or creation, basically. So there was all this blood going to this spot, and I don't know if it was itchy or what, but our dog just kind of scrubbed it off eventually, and it was a very bloody mess. And unfortunately, we took the dog out to the backyard, and my dad's a veterinarian, so he humanely euthanized him with the drugs that are used. But yeah, it was man, there was like puddles of blood, and that's all because it was cancer. But yeah, boxers predisposed to cancer. Some other dogs, pugs, you guys know about pugs and brachycephalic dogs, right? They've got these scrunched up faces. They can hardly breathe. That's all a result of their breed. And so
we breed mice, rats, and other animals because of their propensity to develop cancers, in order to study them and study the treatment of cancers. I mean, ultimately, dogs and cats are no different in our domesticated breeding. right? I think that's what you're saying.
Yeah. Wow. I didn't even know that. I didn't know that mice had, I didn't know they were breeding for that. That's crazy. But yeah, I mean, that's what happens. They have these problems, and then when you inbreed, they just get magnified and magnified. So maybe that's, to answer your question, Dr. Nelson, maybe that's why the life expectancy has gone down over the years. That's what I would say.
Next question, Alia.
Sure. Discuss the domestic cat versus wild lions. Lions don't eat for many days if they can't make a kill.
And that's a great question. That's something I thought of yesterday whenever my professor was talking about how they'll get fatty liver. I mean, it doesn't really make sense, does it? I mean, especially for humans, if you are, especially if you're doing carnivore, it's so much easier to fast. Like, I remember if I would go, I don't know, 2 hours without eating on a standard American diet, I would just be hungry. As a matter of fact, I was always hungry. Always. There was like never a point when I wasn't hungry. I could always eat. But now I get full. You know, I mean, it just, go figure, whenever we eat what we're made to eat, we get full. But
I'm curious if getting the fatty liver is a survival mechanism and not a disease pathology for the cats that don't eat. That's all, based on everything Dr. Kiltz talks about, the fat being the point of survival.
No,
fat is the only fuel for the human body. You do not burn sugar. It's an impossibility. If you cannot make fat in the liver, you die. And nobody eats fat. Nobody eats raw adipose tissue. Even most carnivores eat lean meat. Adipose tissue is the most important tissue on your body. You have none, you are dead. That's why the prized fatty meat is actually the best meat to eat. And that's why we raise fatted cows and feed them grains, because you want to get the fattest meat to eat to be the healthiest thing you could be. But we're brainwashed. Again, grass-fed and finished is the healthiest thing to eat.
Well, yeah, you know, there's a lot of paradigm changes that do need to happen in our world, that's for sure. Well, and the thing about the glucose or the sugar, at least this is what we were taught in school. I do know that our brains and our red blood cells and one other, or I think is it the liver? I don't know, but they taught me that, you know, you do need some glucose, but the thing is that your body makes that via gluconeogenesis.
When you eat meat only, or even adipose tissue, are you eating glucose?
A very minuscule amount, but not a significant amount. Because
how much sugar is in the glycocalyx?
Not very much at all, but
really?
Some.
How much is in
the
calyx? Now, well, I don't know. Maybe it's all scientism, but ultimately you will die without glucose.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a glycosylating agent, not a mitochondrial fuel source.
Yeah, you definitely don't need it in extraneous diet. Or
small amounts.
Yeah, very, very small amounts.
Or glycosylation. That's the most important part, glycosylation.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that is, I would say that glycation and glycosylation are I mean, that's the biggest reason for disease, I think, nowadays.
Yeah.
Okay, that was another thing. So they were talking about, I think I mentioned this, but how fat and cholesterol clogs your arteries. Really? Is it the fat and the cholesterol? I don't think so, because our cells, especially our skin's made of saturated fat. Our cell membranes are held together by cholesterol, and there's so much more. There was one thing that I learned about yesterday that, bile. Bile is like one of the components is cholesterol. So we need fat and cholesterol. We don't really need all the 400 grams of sugar or whatever that's in the national recommendations or whatever.
Lied to by the lions.
Yeah. And that sugar is what glycates the fat and the cholesterol to clog the arteries.
Our brain is almost half of it is fat, and half of that is cholesterol. Our vitamin D comes from cholesterol. All the sex hormones come from cholesterol. Cortisol comes from cholesterol. And a liver will produce thousands of milligrams a day of cholesterol.
Yeah, your body just makes it too. So if it's bad for us, then why do
when you eat, so is glucose a carbohydrate?
Yes.
When you eat meat, are there carbohydrates in the meat?
Well, from what I know, very, very minuscule amounts.
No, that wasn't the question. So are there sugars in meat?
Yes.
So how much sugar does your body require? So when we use the word essential carbohydrates, we're misspeaking, aren't we?
Yes.
And so our science is actually wrong, mostly. This is our problem. And so, again, is alcohol good for us?
No.
Is marijuana, heroin, cocaine, nicotine, even caffeine good for us?
I don't think so.
But it's, and then our grass and grains as our primary food good for us?
Not for us.
No, because we're not cows and fermenters, are we?
Nope.
Ali, you want to? Did we get all the cues real quick? Or
we have like a bunch more cues, but we've got like 2 minutes left. 1 minute left.
Well, we can do real quick. I mean, here, like cooking meat, early example, search of bliss point. I mean, you cook the sugars; they taste good. It's basically a Maillard reaction, which brings out the sweetness of the sugars, right? Kibble dog, would you recommend us humans to buy our dogs?
Oh, that's a really good question. I wish I could give a solid answer, but I haven't done enough research.
Make your own.
Yes, that's, I've been thinking of making my own. I don't know all the advertising or whatever I'd have to go through to do that, but
everyone should make their own food and their own animal food.
Yes.
You don't need a box or bag or a can. That's what we're saying here. What do we got? Almost there. Little poodle raw ground beef. That's it. And
have a great day, everybody.
Thank you for this opportunity.
Right on. Who won? Okay. Who won, Alia?
Bros 7594. Congrats. Email me. I put it in the chat.